you're more into hugging. Hugging is later.
I can carry it.
Hugging comes later. That was nice.
That just took everything out of my head. I can't remember what I was going to say. I will say, one, there's too many Smiths here now. We have to have a Hunger Games sort of situation so that we can narrow this shit down. Also, this has nothing to do with the rest of what I'm going to say, but Space Jam 2 was announced yesterday, and I feel that news needs to be spread to everybody. I got it at 1 in the morning. I called 3 different people. But on that note, I'm going to go do something completely different. So, I was hanging out with my friends, and the song South Side by Moby, featuring Gwen Stefani, was playing on the radio, which wasn't so odd because it was new at the time, and for all of these kids that were born in the 90s, the radio is something that you turn on and it plays things you don't want to hear. And then you complain about it. Was sitting there, and my friend turns to me and she goes, "John, did you know this song, Moby recorded 2 different versions of it because he was so displeased with Gwen Stefani's vocals." I didn't know that. And we continued to talk about it like humans do. I also didn't know that at the time, this little fact was going to rear its head again and cause the biggest fight that my sister and I have ever had, and has left a rift between us that still stands today. And I don't know how many people have siblings, but a lot of us do. And you'll know it's this kind of crazy double-edged sword. It's awesome. You have someone there that has your back when things are really shitty. Or like, you know, when your parents are just, they're an insane tornado of themselves, which, if you have parents, they're an insane tornado. And if you don't have parents, then I'm confused, and also, I hope things work out for you, little orphan Annie. Dude, guys, don't that. I've seen the movie, it works out for her. She gets rich. I'm gonna go over 10 minutes already. So, fast forward a couple weeks later, I'm in my sister's room using her computer, because there's only 2 computers in the house, and hers has Napster on it, which also dates this. I could use it, and she didn't mind. She would be in her room reading a book or watching TV. And in this case, she was reading a book. And we are listening to her playlist of music. And a little song known as South Side by Moby, featuring Gwen Stefani, comes on our MP3 player. And we're listening to it, and I'm just sitting there reading about anime or whatever there is on the internet at that time. And I'm listening to the song, and I realize, oh, this is the version of that song that my friend told me about. Gwen Stefani's not in this. I don't hear her vocals. And I'm prepared for this, because I've been armed with information. And I go, I got this. And I go, hey, Sarah. That's my sister. Did you know? And then I give her the information. I present it. And I've done it. I'm king of the social situation. I've brought something new into the world. Or sort of. And my sister does something I wasn't expecting. She goes, no. You're wrong. And I don't know what to do. So I just go, no, listen, that's not her singing. And she goes, the MP3 says that it's that she's on it. Because, once again, I'll explain this to the younger kids, iTunes, now, you'll know that everything they give you is correct. Napster, some asshole would just lie and throw a file up there, and you would just trust that it was what you wanted. But it almost, like, 75% of the time it wasn't. It was always some weird ad that repeated, or it was just mislabeled. This was a mislabeled one, and I became, my goal, I had to explain to Sarah that no, this is not the one you think it is. There is no Gwen Stefani singing in this song. And she is adamant, yelling at me, and I turn it up to try to make her hear. I'm like, listen, there is no Gwen Stefani! And she's like, I can hear her! And I'm like, that's just Moby singing in a higher pitch! And it escalates from there. And I know, like, you're thinking, John, the internet's right behind you. You can just Google it. You can just look at it. But this was before Google was really that implanted in our minds. We weren't that dependent. There was no Wikipedia. This was pre-9/11. And she's looking at me, and it's come to a fever pitch, this fight, and we're yelling at each other. It's like the middle of the night, and I can see in her eyes just flames of rage, and we're silent, and we're just staring at each other. And then finally she looks at me, and I will never forget this. She goes, "John, you are so stupid! How do you live so long being as dumb as you are?" And I look at her, being the innovative and creative person I am, and I go, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch and I hate you." And then I storm off. And I know what you're thinking, like, John, that's sexist language. But I don't know, like, if you've ever been in a situation where you know you're right, and everyone is telling you that you're wrong, and you know without a doubt, you start to, like, question, it makes you question yourself. I've had multiple times, and this is one of them, where I thought, maybe I'm the crazy one. I know for certain this is right. What if it's not? What if I'm just making up Gwen Stefani songs? Which, in that case, I should get help. Because there hasn't been a good Gwen Stefani song since Tragic Kingdom. I'd be doing the world a favor. But I know I'm right. Thank you. So I storm off, and now the Cold War begins. We refuse to talk to each other for a week. We don't even look at each other. We can't be in the same room without fuming. On her side, Gwen Stefani. On my side, just Moby. This goes on for a week. That's very difficult when you live literally right across the hall from each other. And for some reason, the Cold War, the end of the week comes, and we're in my mom's car, and my mom's driving us somewhere for some reason. And we're on our way home, and we're just in there. We're just these fists of rage because we have to be near each other, just thinking about how wrong the other person is. And my mom gets sick of it, and she goes, "What are you guys so mad about? It can't be that bad. You just need to get over it." And I go, "No, Mom, you don't understand. There's a song called Southside by Moby featuring Gwen Stefani and blah, 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 blah," and just word vomit. And my sister just goes into it, and she starts yelling, and it's just chaos. We're like, if it wasn't for the fact that we were in different rows, we would have been beating the crap out of each other. And I'm a teenager at this point. She's older than me. We should be a bit over this. But no, it'll never be that. And we're fighting. My mom finally gets sick of it because her children are insane. And she just goes, "Fine, just stop it. Never talk. Just don't talk again. I don't want to hear any more about Gwen Stefani and Moby." But that doesn't work for me because I'm still not vindicated. I still don't get to hear the words that I want to hear, which is, you're right. Gwen Stefani is not singing in that version of Southside by Moby featuring Gwen Stefani. Not featuring Gwen Stefani. And we get home, and I jump out of the car, and I run inside, and I burst through her bedroom door, turn on her computer, which computers are freaking slow back then. So I'm waiting for that. I boot up Napster. I download Southside feature by Moby featuring Gwen Stefani. I make sure she's in there, and I crank the speakers up, and I hit play, and I walk out, I go into my room, I close the door knowing the truth is ringing out. And I listened to my sister walk into my room, and by the way, it was Napster 56K. This took a while. But she walks into her room, I hear the song turn off, and then it goes back to silence. And we don't talk about it. The next day, things are back to normal, we're talking, we're fine. And years and years and years go by, and I'm riding in my sister's car, and a little ditty called Southside by Moby featuring Gwen Stefani comes on the radio. And my sister goes, "You remember that time you tried to convince me that that version of Southside by Moby featuring Gwen Stefani did have Gwen Stefani in it?" And she looks at me, and she's grinning, that shit-eating grin, because she knows what she's doing. And I look at her, and I say, "You're a bitch. I hate you."